spread across the state of Texas and parts of Oklahoma. So we are honored that he's here tonight in his home turf, right?
This is home. So first of all, thank you for coming tonight to celebrate. This is a wonderful, wonderful evening for us to welcome Emma and her husband Steve to the community. I'll share with you that 3 years ago, I was looking for a CEO for Laredo, and I knew that I needed someone that was warm, welcoming, engaging, bilingual, smart, accomplished. She was all of that. So I took a chance and I hired her. And she did amazing things in Laredo, absolutely amazing things in Laredo. So when this opportunity became open and she applied for it, it was natural to look at all the wonderful things that had happened in Laredo and say, let's do it again, but let's do it here in the Valley. So we're really excited that Emma is here. It's 3 years of working together. It's been fabulous. We welcome you. To all of our leaders in the organization that are here tonight, thank you for what you do, for taking care of the community, for all of our physicians in the community, and all of our first responders, and really everybody in this room that makes this such a wonderful place to live, to work, to raise a family. This is the absolute best place I've ever lived. I'm in the witness protection program. I've lived all over this great country, but I gotta tell you, this is my absolute favorite place to live, and I'm not leaving. So, and I'm bringing more people down here with me. So, it's really exciting. At this point, I'd like to turn over the microphone to our board chairman, Humberto, who looks younger every day that I see him. And because he's worked for 39 years on the board, I swear he started when he was 15. Humberto.
What an honor. Thank you, Chuck. Of course, a lot of this is possible because of the leadership that we have from Chuck. I don't see him as often as I want to because he's always all over the place, like Tom was saying. But before I go and say a few words, is there any elected official that we missed? Recognizing, because I really thank you all from the bottom of my heart for being here and supporting not only Emma, but also supporting South Texas Health Systems. Anybody? Because the last function we had, Tommy forgot one person at the 10-year awards. And that was our controller, CFO.
Fabian's not here tonight.
Fabian's not here tonight.
Have him on Zoom.
Just joking. But Emma, I don't know how else to tell you. When we first met, I was very, very excited. I had heard a lot of beautiful things. Laredo has been good to us also, our family and our company. So I know that you left. I know that it was hard. But I know that you will do great in South Texas. And on behalf of the Board of Directors of South Texas Health Systems, welcome to God's country.
A round of applause for our fearless board chairman. Now, as the Chief Executive Officer at STHS McAllen and the facility's first Latina CEO, Maria Montes-Ewing will be responsible for leading the hospital's 1,100 plus staff members in the delivery of quality, compassionate care to patients throughout the Rio Grande Valley. Originally from Peru, Emma has more than 20 years of healthcare leadership experience. Throughout her career, she has helped build high-performing teams, develop service lines, increase revenue in competitive markets, and build healthy organizational cultures. Additionally, she has demonstrated strengths in attracting talent, driving overall performance, and most importantly, championing a high-quality patient experience. Prior to joining STHS McAllen, she served, as mentioned, as the CEO of Doctors Hospital of Laredo, where she was there for 3 years. Ladies and gentlemen, I would like to officially introduce you to Maria Montes-Ewing.
Thank you so much for all the kind words and for this amazing welcoming. I want to tell you a little bit about myself, as we start this beautiful relationship, as I and my husband relocate to this wonderful valley. It has been incredible. I cannot tell you how incredible it has been in this first 3 weeks. It just validates that I'm in the right place. And thank you, Chuck, for the opportunity. Thank you. So I want to be a little vulnerable tonight. And I want to tell you, my name is Maria Montes-Ewing, and I'm serving as CEO of South Texas Health System McAllen. And what a blessing that is. As Tom said, I was born and raised in Peru. And at the age of 19, I relocated to the United States. I had an aunt in Amarillo, Texas, and I was pursuing to further my education. And those of you that have been in Amarillo, Texas, raise your hand. So the weather, right? The weather is different. And coming from Peru, it was really different. So early on, I was introduced to adaptation, fast change, so I learned to be flexible, to endure, and needless to say, English is my second language. So at the time, I didn't speak English, not good enough to communicate, not good enough to go to school. So I had to go to what is called English as a second language, amazing program. And I was exposed to wonderful mentors, teachers that helped me. And so I went on and received an associate's degree as a licensed physical therapist assistant. And it was during one of my rotations that I fell in love with the art of wound healing. It was actually at one of our hospitals in Northwest Texas, in Amarillo, Texas. And I got the passion by spreading, I would say, because I saw the PTA that was a specialist in wound care, how she was healing and how she was really caring for these patients. And I said to myself, I want to do this. So I graduated and relocated to a different community in West Texas. And because I was so passionate about wound care, I pursued a board certification as a wound care specialist, CWS. And so I was there doing my thing, taking care of patients, loved it. And I was given the opportunity to be a supervisor and then a director. And one day, the company I was working for was creating a pipeline for executives. So I was chosen to applied, got in, and I became an associate administrator, then later an assistant CEO, COO, and now CEO. It's been a journey with many, many lessons, many mentors, many struggles. And I do want to tell you, there were 3 powers I was able to tap into. And these are 3 powers all of us can tap into. The first one is the power of reframing. And I want to tell you a story about that. So reframing is the choice of looking at a situation that perhaps is not as optimal. Because we all know life is not easy. It doesn't always work out the way we want to. But in reframing, you choose to see it in a different way and focus on the positive, because through that, you can, or we can, learn something to make it work and to redirect what could have been into what it will be in a more positive way. And I want to share a story. The second power is the choice of gratitude, or the power of gratitude, not just when good things happen, right? Like, I am so grateful about being here tonight. This is amazing. Or grateful about a gift my husband gave me that he knew I wanted, or the good things. It's also the power of being grateful for the ugly, for the scary, for the bad. When things don't go our way, when things hurt, when disappointments reach us, we can be grateful for everything. And through that, something happens to where, again, you redirect what could have been. And the third one, of course, is the power of community. And here we are today, is where people come together with a common goal and make magic happen. So let me tell you a story. So I told you I was in Amarillo, Texas, and I was learning English. And so it was difficult. And when you learn a different language, sometimes you're exposed to not so good things, judgment about different things, and wanting to speak and not coming fast enough. So one day there I was in the language lab, and next to me was Tran, and she was from Vietnam. And she was having a very difficult time with the pronunciation. I was glad that I was learning English, because in a way Spanish comes from the Latin as a root and is similar to English, but in her case in Vietnam it wasn't. So I was helping her, and she was so grateful that she said, let's go to lunch. So I went to lunch with her, and there was this amazing sports car with the best speakers and a sunroof, and I said to her, hey, how could you afford a car like this? Now, mind you, I didn't have a car at the time, right? And I really was struggling to be independent. I was in school. My aunt had to take me here and there, so it was painful. So here I saw Tran, could hardly speak the language, and I started making judgments. How is it that she drives an amazing car? I want that. So I asked her, how can you afford a car like that? She said, it's easy. First clue. She said, it's super easy. And I said, where do you work? She said, I work in IBP. And that's a meat company, packing company, if you are familiar with Amarillo. And I said, really? Tell me about that. She said, Emma, it's easy and good money. I said, okay, what do you have to do? She said, I just cut the meat, put it in a plastic. It's easy and good money. I said, well, that doesn't sound like I'm gonna get in trouble or something bad. I would like easy and make money. Who wouldn't, right? So I said, hey, can you help me get a job? So she did. But I was placed in the slaughterhouse, because IBP has two sections, the slaughterhouse and the packing. She was in the packing company. So I found myself in a situation that I wasn't prepared for. But I kept thinking, well, if I endure, I'm gonna get the car, and I'm not gonna have to ask people to take me places. And one day I was miserable. My arms were numb, hurt, because if you're not familiar with a company like this, when cattle comes in, they're given the opportunity to go to the next life. And once they begin to go through the assembly line, in my job, I had to use an air knife and take and separate the skin from the flesh. I know we have physicians in the room, so I'm not gonna get too graphic for the rest of you, but there I was, feeling miserable, hurt, afraid of getting fired, because the foreman would come and you really had to separate it in such a way that you couldn't cut the flesh, right, the meat, because that's revenue. And so finally I said, guys, I need help. And there was a muscular guy on my left and another muscular guy on my right. And they said, okay, we're gonna help you. And I kept complaining, right? And they said, hey, you need to look at this way. Again, reframing. He said, for everything that you do, every skin that you take, and that cow gets to the other side, there's gonna be an amazing piece of steak waiting for somebody that is just gonna enjoy. And that's connecting the task to purpose. And this is what we do every day. And I thought, okay, that's good. And they said, well, you also chose this, right? You chose this. Nobody forced you to do that. Very wise guys, muscular and wise. So little by little, I started adapting, right? And after a few months, several months, I got the budget and I got me a car. So excellent lesson and power of reframing. But it doesn't stop there. Later in life, I told you gratitude, the power of gratitude. When I was a wound care specialist, I became the best debrider. And debridement is when you separate dead tissue from good tissue. And where did I learn that? I learned it at the slaughterhouse. I didn't know then that that would help me in my career later on. So again, I learned, if we're thankful, grateful for the things that we don't know, that don't feel good at the moment, I promise you this, there's gonna be a lesson somewhere in time, but you have to choose the power of gratitude, because otherwise we become bitter and angry and we don't go farther. The last one is the power of community, and I'm gonna tell you a story. There I was, being a wound care center, being happy, but the situation was that the medical director of the wound care center and the director did not get along. They hated each other. Those dynamics sometimes happens. I would like to tell you they don't, but sometimes they do happen in real life. And so one day she She was pregnant, she had a difficult pregnancy, she had to go on external or extended leave, and I was asked to serve, because I was a supervisor at the time, serve and meet with COO. I never knew anything about administration. I never even had gone to administration. So there I was in the admin room, in the conference room, with another employee that was serving for the outpatient physical therapy and another one for inpatient. And all of a sudden, the COO started talking about closing the center. Now, let me paint the picture. The center was one of a kind in that community. It was the marriage between the art of wound healing and the hyperbarics. And we were doing amazing things, healing people, keeping them from amputations. It was fantastic. And all of a sudden, I'm hearing, we're gonna close the wound care center, and we're gonna get rid of the hyperbarics, and we're gonna make it all a rehab area. And I thought, maybe I don't know much about administration, but I think I heard they're gonna close. So I was devastated. And after the meeting, I asked, can you help me understand why would you close it? Did you actually say close it? He said, yes, they're losing money. They're white elephants. And I thought, white elephants? What I'm seeing from my side of the view is that we're doing amazing things. I said, why would you do that? Well, we're not, we're just, they're denial after denial. And that's real. And a hospital has to make decisions like that. So I went to the medical director, which, by the way, he didn't like me. Because he said, okay, you are like the director, she put you here, you're on the other side. And I'll tell you this, community sometimes is difficult, because there's many of us here that look at the world from a different window. Just like parents and children, doctors and administration, politicians and voters. That doesn't mean what is wrong and what is right. It's just looking at the world from a different window. And this is why we work on alignment, because when we get there, magic happens. So there I was, I went to his office, and of course the welcoming was not pretty. But I said, listen, we gotta do something. We need to meet with administration. Something has to be done. This is too wonderful to close. So we met, we discussed, we enlisted a revenue integrity manager that was an amazing person, and guess what? We saved the center because we came together. And not only that we saved the center. That center doubled in size. We went from 2 chambers to 4 chambers, and the revenue, of course, followed, and we did magic because we created community. So those are the 3 lessons I have learned through my trajectory, and I want to tell you, I am blessed to be here. I want to create community. I want to create community here, and I want to do my best to narrow the gap when we see life from a different window. So far, the welcoming has been amazing. I see this is a blessing for me and my husband. We have bought a home in Edinburgh, and just to see how amazing you are in welcoming me and making me feel as part of the community, I want to say thank you. Thank you, and I look forward to life together.